All right, here we are. We have the security fencing up to protect the area where the septic system is going to go. That was the last video. It's finally drying out around here enough that really the next step for us is going to be to put in a driveway so that we have access to the construction area. And so maybe, Nancy, you want to tell us a little bit about what we're going to do here?
Well, we need to mark where we want this driveway to go. Thinking about using a bunch of extension cords and then maybe lay it out and then paint where those were or something. And then we'll need to set up this erosion control around it as well.
Sounds good. So yeah, the idea here is instead of just painting it and being satisfied, if we use all of these extension cords to sort of lay out what the driveway might look like, well, then we can then move it around and stuff before we make final decisions. So that's what we're about to do. Here we go. So we've got this sort of laid out for the first time now, and we're going to do some refining of it. So the big question is, you know, the construction site's over there. Why aren't we just going straight at it? And the answer is we kind of want to respect some of these trees that have been in place already here. Some apple trees in this area. There's a bit of a marshy area to my left. And so we've got kind of an arching driveway. So right now we've kind of got it laid out with these extension cords. And in a minute, we will, I guess we'll decide that we're ready to go, and we'll replace the extension cords with some paint marks on the ground. That's the plan. Well, we've got 5 100-foot extension cords, so I think we have a pretty good idea of what the length of this driveway is, but we were just looking at the fact that we're gonna be grading this up a fair amount because the seasonal high water mark in this area is pretty high, and so we're gonna have to set the house reasonably high, and then we're gonna have to build up to it. So we're thinking we might stop this driveway not all the way at the end of 400 or 500 feet, but maybe right about here. And then from this point forward, we can just modify it as we go.
We're low on paint, so we're doing a dashed line instead of a solid line.
I think one of the things that I'm noticing is that if I had tried to draw these lines without the benefit of the extension cord in place, I'm not sure that I would have drawn them at the same angle, which is kind of surprising because now I think it looks right, but my intuition at this spot is I'm always off by just a little bit. But I think the extension cord actually helps to keep me on a curve that looks a little more like it ought to.
Yeah, makes sense.
So. Well, as it turns out, one of the toughest parts of this part of the project is simply coiling up the extension cords at the end. 20 amp extension cords, they're kind of heavy, and it stresses out your arms when you're doing it, which is actually kind of a good point because we should talk a little bit about how we're preparing physically to do this project. A couple of 60-something-year-old people saying, hey, we could build a house together, and we'll see how that goes. So we'll pick that up in a future video.